Okay.
Hello, Kansas City and the KUAW listeners. This is Professor Smooth Jazz, and we're about to do an interview with William Chan Hall, Smooth Jazz recording artist. You are based in Richmond, Virginia. How you
Yes,
doing,
sir.
Chad? Say hello to our guests in the Kansas City listeners.
Hello there, Kansas City. How are you?
Have
And
you ever
all
had a
over the
chance?
world.
Yeah. Have you ever had the chance to come to Kansas City?
No, never have, but I always wanted to, man. They always talk about the barbecue.
Oh, okay. See, all right. You all right? All right. Yeah, we got some pretty nice barbecue. We got some pretty. They call it Q. That's what they call it Q. We got some pretty nice Q. So all I've been hearing about Virginia is bad weather so far, but it looks pretty nice up there. Didn't you get
It's
some
pretty
rain?
nice.
Yeah.
We did get a lot of rain, some storms here, but overall though, it's beautiful, man. Today's a wonderful day. It's sunny and clouds. It's about 63, 65 degrees today,
Okay.
so it's beautiful.
Ah, okay. So hey, I'm listening to your music, spun some. I think I met you through CD Baby. I think that's where it
You
was.
did.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Okay, so it's just your musical journey. You said began at age 15, and
Yeah,
so
yep.
so
Yeah, it started around that time. I'm
did you
sorry.
start with keyboards, keys, or did you any other
No,
instruments?
I started on xylophone, marimbas, and mallet first.
Mm-hmm.
I was in
Mm-hmm.
high school marching band, and my band teacher, he challenged me every day. I actually got into the classes in percussion class, so I was thinking I was going to try to play the drum set. That was the
Mm-hmm.
instrument I was going to go for. We got in there, we never even saw the drum set. One of my other colleagues, he lives in Nashville now, but he had the drum set. So my teacher, he put us on the mallets, and low key, he needed a pit for the marching band. So he was training us up for that situation. But every day, me and him would go back and forth. We would just kind of battle back and forth. And then he was like, yo, you should be in the pit. Eventually, what was said was that the xylophone was the piano, is the keyboard instrument. So basically, learning that instrument was, it's really learning the piano. So, I couldn't take a marimba home, how big a marimba was from the school. So my mother bought me this little keyboard. So I would practice my marimba stuff on this small keyboard. And then from there, it just kind of grew and grew.
Now, did you study reading music early before you got in the band, or?
No, that's funny. I didn't. That was my first approach to music at all. And I wasn't the best reader, but I had a good ear. So whatever my teacher would play out, I would kind of play it back. I would kind of catch on real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, that kind of caught up with me. And, of course, in the school environment, you have to eventually start to read. So, the kind of drumline syndrome, kind of throw the sheet music, like, this. But eventually, you kind of got to cross that barrier. You got to kind of learn.
Kind of funny you mentioned drummer. I had a nephew, and so he started playing drums. So he was playing for the school band when they play football games, and so he went on to tell me the story. He says, "Yeah, I had to learn how to read music. I had to take a music class because he was almost ready to graduate." And I said, so how you been playing?" He said, "Well, I was whatever I could catch on." He said, "But they caught me." He said, "They switched up, and when they switched up, I got stuck." So the instructor come up to me and said, "Can you read music?" We're getting a question because he said, "Yeah, when that switch up came, he couldn't catch on."
I got caught up the same exact way, man. It got
right?
to a point, it was like, all right, you sound good, but okay, here's the music. And it's like, let me play it first. Nobody else can play it first. It's on you now, So he's
Okay.
play what's in front of you. You just kind of like fumbling. They're like, hey, man, stop playing around. You did all this spectacular stuff. Where's this? And that's when you kind of get caught up. It's just like that.
So that just wasn't a movie about a one-time guy, huh?
Oh no, that was a true story for a lot of us.
So it also said you studied under world-class jazz saxophonist James Saxmo Gates.
Yeah, you familiar with James Gates?
Yeah, because he got a new single coming out. I Want You. I think it's the
Uh-huh.
29th. Yeah, yeah, I know. I say James Saxmo. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know who that is. Yeah.
Yeah, he was I when I moved to Richmond, I'm originally from the Raleigh, North Carolina area.
Oh,
When
okay.
I moved to Richmond, I had dreams of doing music. My first dream, of course, was
Mhm.
basketball, and it didn't work out. But when I moved here, I was like, yo, I wouldn't mind doing the jazz thing and taking the skills that I knew from school with piano. I hadn't got any better since that time. I saw a jazz spot here in town. They would do jam sessions. I was like, cool, man. You know what? Let me ask this host, how can I get better? I saw the guys in there competing a lot. So he told me some steps and some stuff to do. I walked the path, and on my path, they still have it, the Richmond Jazz Society here in the city, and they used to have what they call a jazz academy. And James Saxmo Gates taught the jazz academy for students from high school up to whatever age it may be. We had a guy that was 80 years old in the class, a singer vocalist, and then we had kids that were like 16 or in high school. So that's where I picked up a lot of the theory, technical stuff from James. Him being graduated from Berkeley College up in Boston. Some of his classmates was Alex Dion,
Mm-hmm.
Walter Beasley, and all that kind
Mm-hmm.
of stuff like
Yeah.
that. So,
Yeah.
so he really put a good foundation. He checks in on me time to time. We talk time to time, just kind of check on one another. Since we Richmond guys.
Oh, okay. Okay. So were you always interested in jazz, or how did you?
Yeah, I was. I probably was, man. This is a funny story. Probably around like in between 8 and 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I was a big hip hop fan,
Mm-hmm.
and all those records back in the day, like the Biggie Smalls records, they were sampling like Jeff Wilbur,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
everybody. It was sampling everybody. So basically, you would get into jazz and music at that particular time.
Mm-hmm. Especially that Bob James tune.
Yeah,
Everybody,
yeah.
which one was that?
I know which one you're talking about. It go pop, 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 pop.
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember
Something
the
to do with
name.
Kings or something. I'm trying to remember.
Something
I
like
have
that.
Yeah,
That got
yeah,
sampled
but
a lot.
yeah, sure did. Yeah, yeah. It's
So that's
funny
how I
that.
got my jazz.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, man. And then from there, I think music choice helped me out a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Listening to music choice at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like right now I'm in the mall, I'm in the shopping mall. So what do you normally
Mm-hmm.
hear in the shopping malls?
Yeah.
Jazz, Weather Channel.
Really?
So, you get, yeah,
Oh, okay.
you get accustomed to it. And, you start to, well, for me as a kid, I got a good knack for it. I got real interested in the chord structures. I thought the chord structures were really good,
Mm-hmm.
and it just kind of drew me in. And then school, that same year that my band instructor pulled me into the band that year, we did all that jazz, and the theme was we were doing Chick Corea's music,
Oh,
Stain,
okay.
and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of all drew me in slowly. But it started about in between 8 and 10 years old.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry to hear about Chick. Yeah.
I know, man.
Yeah. Because I think I played for Beneath the Mask. I think that's one of the songs I played for his. Well, after he had passed away. Now it says you were influenced by jazz artists like Herbie Hancock, Brian Culbertson, Marcus Johnson, Bob Baldwin, Joe Sample, and many
Yeah,
others. Man, but yeah, but
I get a lot of times. I get a lot of times that I don't know why people say I sound like Joe Sample at times.
okay, I can see that.
I was like, wow, okay. I take that as a strong compliment. I mean, being that he's a real big innovator of the music,
Yeah, yeah. And I remember now Herbie Hancock. So which music did you listen by Herbie Hancock? Because I know I graduated in '72, And actually, me and George, we graduated from the same school. Oh, okay, you know, he's 2 years older
Okay.
than me, and I knew him in high school, but at the Learning Center is where we kind of met. You know, that's where the KUAW radio station is, where we tutor kids and things. And someone said, "You must know George. You went to Purcell." And then I looked at the yearbook. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I remember you. I used to always, even though you were older, you know." And his brother and older brother, my brother, I didn't know that was his brother. They hung out together. They used to always come over to the house. That's your brother, you know. Yeah. So about that year, 72 or somewhere, when the Headhunters came out with Chameleon and Watermelon, that version of Watermelon Man he did. So and actually, I was in this car club. We had hot rods, you know. I had a '67 GTA. So this guy brought it, and we was, you know, some guys working on their cars and washing them and stuff, you know. And so we were out there listening to, you know, the Herbie Hancock Headhunters, you know.
That's the album, man. That's probably when I first started listening to Herbie. It wasn't the Headhunters album. Of course, I studied under James Gates. So when I started out in straight ahead. You know, a lot of that type of form of music. So
Yeah.
I would have been at that time starting out listening to more of Herbie's straight ahead stuff. You know, stuff when he played with, you know, Miles Davis.
Yeah.
And you know, that stuff that he did with Avant-Garde, you know, stuff like Maiden Voyage.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of stuff. And then I eventually stumbled on, I had to find it myself. I stumbled on the Headhunters album. The first song I heard from the album was you would think it would be Chameleon, but it was Butterfly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Butterfly was one of my favorite tunes off the album. But then it, you know, I listened to it, but it got that good funk, you know, that cool funk type deal. So it was like, hold on, this is all right, man.
Yeah. See, and that was kind of around the '70s, and so the black stations here, the urban stations, they would play jazz. And actually, Bob James, it was always right before the news would come on. We had the station, and so you never heard the name of it. They would always play it, and then me and my friends, we would listen to see if they were gonna let all the songs play through. You hear the name of it, and so then they'd always call me and said, did you hear that song? Did it come on? Did you get the name of it?" So it was like years later when I was listening to some music, and I found some music that I remember when I was in high school, and this had to be around 2004, 5, somewhere like this, that I finally found it. And one of these groups was Caldera. It was a group called Caldera. They had this album. It was called I think that was the name of the. I think that was whatever the name of the song was. It meant fire or something like that. But I found this song. I was like, oh man, this is the song I was looking for. I never would have guessed it. But I think my brother had give me a promo copy of it. And I said, who is this? You know, because I listened to jazz, so he worked at a record warehouse, so he get promos. And so I listened to it, and I said, oh, okay, that's that song I've been looking for. I never would have guessed this group. But yeah. So, and you know, and then Bob Baldwin, we used to have this Marcus Johnson, some of them, we used to have this Brian Culbertson. We used to have this jazz station to play jazz 24/7, but you know, they changed the format and everything like that. So that's how I caught. Actually, one of the ladies that worked for KUAW, Michelle Chase, she used to host that show. And so when I started
I know her.
working with KUAW, I said, Michelle, is that the same Michelle that was at the radio station down there? They said, yeah, that's her. We're telling you. And so that's how I kind of caught up with her. So I get to talk to her. So you performed mostly what, East Coast?
Yeah, East Coast. Yeah, pretty much up and down.
Yeah. So you shared the stage with what? Ramsey? Oh, Ramsey Lewis too, and George Benson.
Yeah.
Jerome. Hancock, and Albright and Norman Brown. Now I interviewed Selena, Gerald's daughter.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Now Norman Brown, he's across the river. He's from Kansas City, Kansas. So I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, and so we right across the border. Each other. Some people get us mixed. I was, we're in Missouri and they Kansas, even though the cities are named Kansas City. You know.
Right. It sits in the middle of the two states, right?
Huh?
Does it sit in the middle of the two states, like divided some kind of way in the
line? Yeah, we divided. They're kind of like west of us. Yeah, and it's a river. as you drive over this river, Kansas and Missouri River meet, and then you'll be in the Kansas City, Kansas. Yeah.
So which part is Michael Jamal Warner staying in? Is it where you are?
I don't know. I have to look, but I had looked at it before and I forgot what. Now, do you remember where's?
He's somewhere out in Kansas City. You know the TV star host Michael Jamal Warner used to play on the Cosby. Yeah, he plays bass guitar. He does poetry.
Well, I know, because he did I'm trying to remember. Everett Harp had a Marvin Gaye. No, he had a Marvin Gaye tribute or something like that, and he had Arsenio, Jamal, and the Don, the young lady that played on the Cosby, Don. I can't remember her name. Don. They were narrating on Save the Children. Yeah. So when I heard that, I said, "Oh, okay, yeah." So now in 2011, that's when your debut album was Dreaming After Dark. So how did that come about? And
that came about.
Yeah,
that came about in 2011. That was my first album, of course. So it was like my first love, but I took it as a challenge, actually. Something to cross the barrier to get done. And of course, at the time I was doing jazz, was in bars. I was always playing at night. It was that's the setting. So I came up with the name Dreaming After Dark because it was like me dreaming, doing that dream, and I had to do it after dark. And hours of like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night to 2 in the morning. That type of thing. And I wanted to go and do something of mine. So I wanted to create melodies and ideas that I had on the inside of me that I wanted to play on gigs, but I couldn't do it because if I was playing on somebody else's gig, I had to do what they had to do. So I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I wanted to open up my freedom of expression at that time, and that's how that came about.
Okay, and then your 24 sophomore album, Musical Addiction.
Yeah, Addiction.
Okay, and it said that you musical barriers in attracting international recognition in Italy, Germany, Austria. Oh, okay. And then your new release, Enchantment, and also cross international barriers.
That is correct.
Okay. Now, you have a new release. So what's the name of your new release? Was it In Pursuit? Is that it? In Pursuit?
Yeah, that was my last single. Yeah, my latest single was In Pursuit. Man. The first one was with Marcus Anderson, and then I have this one with In Pursuit, and I have another one coming up in about another month. It'll be out in May. I'm just kind of dropping some breadcrumbs. It'll be out in May. And I'm going to release the album in May as well for this fourth album. So the album title will be Something to Prove. The next single that'll come out, it'll be called Stay a While.
Oh, okay. Now,
so it'll feature Tony Craddock Jr. on that single, and the production will be done by Blake Aaron.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Blake's getting around.
Yeah, he is, man. He's getting around. Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Now, you had featured on the In Pursuit. How'd you that was someone you knew, or you just?
Yeah, that guy was a local guy in town here. A friend of mine. He went to the college, Virginia Commonwealth University, and I've been knowing him for years, and I've done a lot of stuff for him. And I was like, hey, man, I'm gonna do this for you, but I'm gonna need you later. That type of thing. Like, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. And it came before opportunity. I was developing this song. I was like, man, I need somebody to play sax on this. And I thought of him, and he was happy to do it because he kind of he has his own thing going on. He likes funk and stuff like that, but he doesn't straight. He loves smooth jazz. So I was like, hey man, play on this track for me. And, you know, he nailed it, man. He was definitely a good fit for the track.
So you went to most of your music education was in Virginia?
In Richmond. Yeah, it was definitely in Virginia. I did, you know, a little bit in North Carolina. I could have furthered my education in mallet, in xylophones and, you know, vibraphones. I had scholarships to Fayetteville State North University, and I had another one to Livingstone College in North Carolina as well, to CIAA schools. And at that particular time, basketball was number one. So I didn't take either of those scholarships that came to me. I took a partial scholarship to a junior college to play basketball with the hopes and dreams of transferring D1. The transfer into D1 was made it out, but I had to transfer with no scholarship from junior college. And that's where things kind of part ways. Things shift gears. My mother ended up moving to Virginia at that time, so I moved with her. And, you know, you kind of figure out, well, okay, well, basketball is not going to be that thing. So what is going to be that thing? You know, what's going to be that love that's going to keep me driven for life? And music was the second dream. And I was like, you know what? I can make this my first dream now.
Well, playing basketball, you in a tough area with some competition in that area.
Man, it's crazy amount of competition. I mean, you got all the biggest schools in that area. You got the UNC Chapel Hill, the NC State, Wake Forest University, Duke University. I mean, you got so many big universities, and then you got a lot of, they scout talent from everywhere, from New York, everywhere. And you got guys who want that same dream. And when you walk into workouts, I mean, you're looking at about 500 people trying out, I mean, for this walk-on spot. I mean, the stories gets crazy. You know, everybody got that same dream. So, and the thing is, everybody can't have the dream. They only select certain slots for those dreams.
And I'm thinking when I was in high school, this was before I graduated in 72, so this is around maybe 70 or something like that. Man, and so some of I remember, was it West Virginia? I think it was West Virginia that was pretty, I'm thinking they had one of the tall centers. I don't know if that was, I'm trying to remember which center that was, but he went to the NBA. I think he went to the ABA first. I'm trying to remember, but we remember West, that's why I remember Virginia, because I think it was, the college was West Virginia or something like that. And,
yeah, probably the Mountaineers.
Huh? Yeah, I
was
think
it the Mountaineers?
And was that that wasn't Artis Gilmore was from there, was it? Was he?
Not sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, but it was one of the centers. That's why we remember West Virginia. You know, we're like, oh man, that's top lights there. Yeah. So, some of your nominations, you've been nominated, Grammy nominations in 3 categories. That's Best Contemporary Instrumental Album, Best New Age Album, and Best Jazz Instrumental Album. So tell me about, you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah.
Accolades.
So yeah, those became about, man, a colleague of mine, that we did a track together. I think it's probably the first track that you saw on CD Baby. It's a track with Bill McGee. And Bill McGee actually was responsible for, he's a voting member in the Academy. And I didn't know, you know, about the Academy so much. What he did was, with a couple of us that he knows in the area, he put our stuff in categories up for nominations in the first round ballot. So I made it on there as a first round ballot, but I didn't make it to the second and third. You got a couple rounds where you can actually be, you know, nominated and all that good stuff. But he was nice to put me in there, man, and he put me in a few categories he thought I would, you know, kind of fit in. So I thought it was pretty cool that, you know, maybe the first round ballots and stuff like that. I thought it was sweet, man. I hadn't even thought about it at that time. He actually initiated it. I didn't even know what he was doing at the time. I noticed he was asking me a lot of questions. He was like, what's your catalog numbers and all this stuff? I'm like, man, no Bill, I don't look at this stuff all the time. That's not what I was doing, look up the catalog numbers. And he was just kept asking me numbers and information. And later, he told me that he had put me in those categories. I'm like, oh man, thank you, man. Like I would never know. I never knew how none of that stuff worked. So he convinced me as well to try to join the academy, the National Grammys Association. I haven't got in yet, but I'm still working on the criteria to get in as a regular member. But he's actually a voting member. He wanted me to. He was actually trying to inspire me to become a voting member as well, which I may look into. But yeah, I got into the. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Bill's a trumpeter, right? Bill McGee,
yep.
trumpeter. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I spent some of his selections too. Yeah, but so tell me, you're an independent artist, right?
Yes, independent.
So that's still accomplishment because now they're starting to. I see the independent artists are starting to get more airplay. And how's the pandemic, affecting your activities, musical activities? I'll say.
Oh man, really? Woo. Man, we're talking when last year, man, came in and they decided to shut down the world. They killed all the gigs, man. Like none of the gigs. I mean, I had a good year that was gonna come up gigging wise, and it got put on, on back burner. I mean, it was nothing that nobody could do. So what I did was concentrate on trying to get on radio. So I shifted my focus. I was looking to get gigs, and get that kind of move around. I want to kind of get away from the East Coast. I want to kind of spread my wings a little bit and, go some different places. But that's when I initially started thinking I need to start getting into promotions with radio. Something Bill McGee really shoved down my throat that none of us in my area was doing. So I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to concentrate my efforts where nobody in my area is doing it. So I think that in ways I lost the gigs, but there were blessings on radio, so one traded off for the other.
Okay. Yeah, well, the best for you and everything. You have my prayers and everything up there in Virginia. but so I don't play any instruments, can't read music, can't sing, but keyboardist, I'm gonna check out your equipment. And I was talking about, I noticed you had a Roland Juno DI, right? That's like 61 velocity sensitive keys, 128 voices. You got what, 10, 1082, is that patches? Plus 256 GMZ sounds. So
it's got a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah,
it's a good synthesizer board. A lot of people use it as just their top board, as like running through your synthesizer sounds or strings. It's not like the main board, but like I said, what I was doing here locally, I was in a lot of tight spaces. So it was like trying to cut down the amount of space that we had. So it was just good for what it was, but it's a good board, man. It's like, that was one of my first boards. So it's kind of like my first love too. I keep that board because it's a good things I can get out of the board, and it's a quick board to just, I got a backpack, I just throw it on with the board in there and kind of just, I can just make my moves. I mean, I got other keyboards as well, but that one at that particular time was one of the boards I used a lot. But like I said, man, there's a lot of places locally we were playing, and some of these places are tight, and especially if you go downtown the city, Center City, it's a lot of little clubs and bars that people go to, and you like, man, we got this one corner to work. So that board was like beautiful, because if some drummers bringing his setup, then I don't have to take off a lot of my space because of the situation, So, but I still, as a matter of fact, you say that I played that board yesterday. I brought it out yesterday just to play it.
All right. Well, thank you for spending the time with us, giving me this interview. And so, what about your contact info in case someone wanted to contact you?
Absolutely. You can go to my website. That is the major hub to get everything, which is www.chanhalljazz.com. That's Chan Hall, CHAN HALLJAZZ.com. And everything else will follow. I have all my social media on there. You can sign up for the email listing. You listen to my music. You watch my videos. Everything. That is the major hub. You go to that. That's a one-stop shop.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're having nice weather. But they say some storms is coming through.
Yeah,
your
yeah.
way.
They're heading here.
Hopefully, just rain.
Hopefully, just rain. Look, they got tornadoes in Alabama, I think, or Mississippi somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping all that stays down there. I mean, God forbid it. I hope they don't get it either, but I just want rain.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we're in the Midwest, so we get all 4 seasons here.
Yeah, you guys are up Tornado Alley, so.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you again, and you have a nice day. Prayers, and
thank you.
I'll stay in contact with you. You know that. Looking forward to that new music.
Do.
All right.
Yeah, like that in May.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thank you very much too.
Okay. No problem. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.